Now, if we open the edit.php file inside of the clients folder, now one very important thing is obviously this one will be very similar to the one which client sees himself when they are going through the checkout and updating the record. So what we could do is basically copy the entire structure of this file from the checkout. So if we select everything and paste it inside of our edit.php file, now we're going to have to make a few amendments, obviously, but more or less everything is the same. So if we obviously remove this else statement here after the footer, that's the first thing to do. If we scroll up and we need to check, we need to remove this restrict front. We also need to first check, do the ID variable, URL, get param and ID, because obviously we're passing ID through the URL, and we need to now check if this ID is an empty. So if is an empty ID, then we're going to execute the rest of the code. So we need to indent all this actually here, and then this closing PHP tag can stay like this. Now scroll right to the bottom, obviously place closing, another closing curly brace after the require ones. If we go back, and obviously object user, which is fine, new user. Now we're checking user. Rather than checking the session from a front end, we take this ID parameter, and now we check if it's empty. Sorry, if it is an empty user, if it's been found, then obviously we go through everything here. If it's post first name, that stays the same way it is. We also need the same expected and required fields. Special as well, we need to be email. Now we check if it's valid, then update user, which is fine. We're passing post from the object valid, and again we won't be passing user ID. I mean, we can pass, but actually pass user ID, it doesn't matter, because we obviously populated this record based on what ID is inside of the URL, so we can keep it the same way. Now helper redirect is going to be different, so we remove this one, and our else statement is also not going to have any messages, so we remove this. Now obviously checkout is not going to be checkout, it's going to be clients 2 colons edit, and obviously require once will be template / header, and if we copy this to the footer, if we scroll down to the bottom, we have template footer. Now scroll up to our header. Okay, clients, please check your details. We don't need this paragraph at all. We don't need this message because we're not going to be displaying anything like that. We have first name, last name, object valid. All that should work just fine. So let me just actually check through everything. Obviously, value for the button is not going to be next, it's going to be update. And now if we scroll up to the top, we have this if user update has been successful, else obviously statement. We need to put URLs here. So for the successful will be helper, redirect, and we take / admin in between a single quotes or double quotes, then concatenated with URL, get current URL, and we want to remove action and ID. So array action, comma ID in between a single quotes, then concatenated with end action equals edited. And then we close the single quote and semicolon right at the end. Do you know what? I'm pretty sure you can't see very well this. So I'm going to close this browser. Now if we copy this entire helper redirect, and obviously edited failed will be if we couldn't update the record. So that's all done. Okay, now let's test it. So if we click on the edit link, we've got all of the details displayed on the client's edit. If we hit update, we've got update, prepare, update. Okay, this is where it goes wrong. This is where I've actually changed the name of this method. So if we go back, update user, we need to go to our update user class. So to our user class classes, user, and obviously we're looking for this one, which I've renamed in the previous video. Make sure that obviously you've renamed this as well. It's going to be APDATE. So if we copy this, any other ones? Nope, there don't seem to be any. Obviously, if you get this kind of error at any point, Please remember to rename this to obviously update rather than update. Okay, so that's done. Now, if we save this file and close it, if we refresh the page here, it's been updated. Obviously, it's still displaying orders because we didn't change these files. If we change my name to, let's Sebastian, whatever. Okay, hit enter, go back. That, as you can see, it has also been updated, so it does seem to be working fine. So that's okay. Now, another thing we should do is when we click on edit, obviously you can change the email address. We should check whether this email address is already assigned to any other accounts, because if we update this record with the new email address and someone else is using this already, then obviously there might be some problems with the login on the front end. So let's have a look at this in the next video.